and Freaking Podcast.
What's up, y'all? I'm DJ Neff, North Philly Get It In. I'm here wrapping it up with my man Q, man. Let's just have a little grown folk conversation. I'm all for it. And listen, man, I'm just ready. I'm here right now. Let's rap.
That's what's good. That's what's up. That's what's up. So, Alan, my man, I appreciate you taking the time today. We're gonna get into it. So, tell me about your first introduction to hip hop. Like, was it a song? Was it a music video? Like, what was that first time that you came across it?
It would probably be back in the day. My pops was big on R&B and hip hop. Like, he was big. It was his two favorite artists, James Brown and Big Daddy Kane.
Wow.
So
Okay.
that's a wide range right there alone with music. So he would always bump Big Daddy Kane in the house. He always had like a ton of vinyl. He wasn't a DJ. He just had a ton of vinyl records.
Okay.
And his brother, my uncle, who I'm still tight to this day, he's the one that taught me how to DJ. Yeah, him and his cousin on another side of the family, they had a bar in Frankfurt that was called Trolley Stop Tavern. And it was well known in the area. It was just a regular hole in the wall bar, but it was more of like a safe space. It was more like Cheers. Everybody knows your name. It was on that type of vibe.
All right.
And I'll never forget just listening to Daddy Kane's 8.5 stepping smooth operator. That just made me fall in love with hip hop. It's one of my favorite artists of all time.
So that's not a bad artist to have either. I think for me, definitely, so growing up in Detroit, I was exposed to house music at an early age. My mother's husband, which my stepfather, I guess at one point, was a DJ as well. And he was really into the house scene and that kind of stuff. So I heard like a little bit of hip hop through that, but it was mostly house. It was mostly that really up tempo type shit. Yeah. So I fucked with it. I fuck with that on that level, but I would definitely say my first real exposure. I don't even know how this happened to this day, but I got Me Against the World on tape. So Tupac on tape first, and so I remember
on the cassette tape
playing that and being like, whoa, not only like, a bunch of profanity, all that kind of shit, but I was just I was like,
Tupac is a storyteller.
Yeah, I was like, this is a lot to like really process. Like, I don't really get it. And the way other people will respond to it kind of let me know that there was more like below the surface of it.
Music.
And so I really didn't have that connection. And that was like right before we get into the whole East Coast, West Coast and all that kind of other shit.
Right.
But again, being in Detroit, like you're not really, connected to either. And then I moved to North Carolina and it was still a lot of the same. It was like, okay, I'm hearing about like East Coast, West Coast type shit, but like neither one, like I'm in Detroit, we're not, East Coast, and I'm in North Carolina and we're still not East Coast. So it's just like, whatever.
Right.
But,
And back then the music was a little bit different.
Very.
Like nobody wasn't really, at least from an East Coast perspective, nobody really didn't know what was moving out in Detroit, in the Midwest too much.
No.
New York, Cali.
Absolutely.
That was number one. And then New York transitioned to Philly and Baltimore and DC. And then it migrated down south. I know Florida, Miami, Atlanta, they had their own flow.
Right.
But back then it was just New York and LA. That was it.
That absolutely. So I remember hearing like Tupac and just being like, "Oh shit, okay, all right." But then my mom was like, "No, we're not playing that because it was just too much." And I remember hearing "Dear Mama," right? And I remember, being a kid, you dedicate songs to your folks and whatever. And I dedicated that song to her, and her only takeaway from the whole song of "Dear Mama," the entire song is the part where he goes, "And even though you were a crack fiend, mama, you always was a black queen."
Yeah.
And she all loves that. She's like, "So I'm a crack fiend." I'm like, bro, like the whole song, that was your only takeaway.
Right.
But yeah, so that was my first kind of introduction to it. And then as I got older, I had to go back and dig into the crates and like really learn about hip hop and everything like that. But I've always been I guess blessed that was my entry, and I didn't get like my entry wasn't like I don't know, something crazy or corny, like just be like, "The fuck is this?" Like, and then just get turned off, and then or just get like molded in the mind of like, conscious rap is like corny and stupid. I'd rather just hear like, the more like the boppy shit that's gonna like, get me wanting to move or whatever.
You know what, Kim?
Yeah.
To switch it up. You know who like my favorite Wu-Tang Clan, the Triumph album, not just the song, the Triumph album. And I had that on the cassette. Cassettes was, you know what I mean? That was big time back then. And really like listening and breaking it down. You got nine different artists when it comes to Wu-Tang Clan. 9 different, and they all different types.
Yep.
Like Ghostface was the flashy type. He wanted to be the face. He wanted to have that bravado. Raekwon was the trenches. Well, he gonna get it's grit. It's talking street. Like if you're in that culture, you know what's going on in that upbringing, then you would understand everybody. And then watching the interview from them, they said that half of them was just trying to get a bag. They was just trying to get some money.
Yeah.
The other half was just trying to speak their mind because they was like, we ain't got shit else to do.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So switching vibes like that. Listen, when it comes to hip hop, at least from back then it was a message.
Right.
There was a message. Somebody had something to say, and not just taking that saying, look, I gotta get out the jacks, I gotta get out the projects. I gotta get out of this block, I gotta get out these bricks. And find a way, because some people that's what they know. And back in the day, you either had a skill in music, or you had a skill through sports.
Right.
One way or another, you had to do something.
You gotta get up out
Or
of
if you gotta get up out of here. Sometimes it was legal, sometimes it was illegal.
Right.
But it was that whatever it takes survival mentality that we had to do, at least here in the East Coast.
Right.
At least from what I remember I'm a North Philly guy. Coming from, and I ain't no street dude, but just living around the upbringing, it definitely molded me to be the person I am. But then on the music side, when you seen cats like, especially DJ, I said my pops had a whole bunch of vinyl, but my uncle, he was very influential, and he was tight friends with Cosmic Kev, DJ Cash Money. But these were like well-known, Jazzy Jeff, like these were well-known people that he was in those spaces.
Absolutely.
And I was blessed and fortunate enough to see them. And when I see DJs, just it's about that feeling of turning the party out.
Yes.
And when you're like the maestro, and you are, like when you're in an orchestra and they got that little baton.
Yep.
And everybody knows the movements of that baton. So it's really knowing the song, timing, atmosphere. It's about reading the room.
Right.
And then back then, the skill of technology, vinyl, versus now with everything being more electronic and getting more digitalized, then with analog. First of all, the setup, let alone, was 2 hours just to set up. And that depends on the venue and the gig that you get yourself into. If you notice the music back then, songs was 7-8 minutes. Somebody had a lot to say.
Right.
And and sometimes if it was a group, everybody had 2 minutes. If you notice the transition of music where everything went from 4-minute songs, 3.5 minutes, where you had 3 verses and 2 hooks and an intro, okay?
Yep.
And that's when, and then you really had to be precise, because the recording portion, if you mess up, you got to start from scratch.
Right.
There's no button that just says, all right, take a break.
Right.
Because on that cassette tape, you loop it the wrong way, Jim, man, your shit is all fucked up. I'm just, man, I didn't see some stuff. And then even just with DJing old school hip hop back then, my uncle used to teach me, and he would do like a piece of, he was so precise, and he was really like into this, where he drew a cardboard for me.
Okay.
And he drew a cardboard of an actual turntable. And he had taught me every part of that turntable, from the arm, the play, and then learning the vinyl record. There's small grooves and lines inside the vinyl record.
Right.
It's like certain parts of the actual song. So that would tell you how to break down the song. You can tell by the length of the song by how many lines is in that vinyl record. And then not to mention, if you buy a vinyl record, there's a B-side on there.
Right.
Or there might be a whole compilation. So you have to really have a good listening ear, because there wasn't nothing in front of you to look on a laptop screen. This was precision, skill. You have to be precise about it because one false move, the whole party looking at you like house party.
Like, bro,
Like
what you
loud,
doing?
like what are you doing? You know what I'm saying? They bumped the table, but they looking at the DJ. Like, what happened?
Yeah. I remember watching I don't know if it was a documentary, but it was Grandmaster Flash was talking about how he would take crayons and he would mark on the actual vinyl like where
Yes.
breaks and where
Yes.
different things were. And I was like,
Yes.
that's wild. But that's also legit.
What? Some people use stickers. You know those small round stickers that's color coordinated that you would kind of mark like for a paper.
Yeah.
Like if someone would do something school related and they put a little sticker on it.
Yep.
That's what I was taught.
Okay.
In certain songs, if I knew the green, like for example, my uncle would tell me, if you see a green sticker on a vinyl record, that's the bridge of the song. If you see a blue, that's the intro of the song.
Okay.
If you're seeing a red, that's where you scratch it. That's the prime part that you want to really lock in. If you want to really just do that, and then so DJing. Let me just break DJing down.
Please.
All together. Everyone thinks DJing is just scratching. That's scratching. As in the words of my man Jazzy Jeff, who is a legend, scratching is the icing of the cake.
Okay, I like that.
DJing is the layer. It's the batter. You learning how to build your library. A good DJ doesn't always have to be not the best scratchers. If you know how to read the room, build your library, and practice, and then don't be so egotistical because it's not what you want to hear; it's what the people want to hear. Right. So you may be in an environment where everyone
they're not there for that.
They're not going for that. But then again, on the flip side, if you got a more mature crowd, they ain't gonna want to hear Lil Uzi Vert. So you have to know where you're at, build your library, because that's the number one thing. It also timing. When you bring a song in and you're scrambling because I got 30,000 songs. And that's nothing. That's nothing. I know my uncle, they got about 100,000 because of there's a 12-year gap in between each other.
Oh, right.
Their level of music goes back to the 70s, the 60s. Now, I have those crates. I took time and built a playlist for almost every generation of music. And then I would break it down in different genres. It's about timing. It's about practice. It's about reading the room. Scratching and all the other theatrics, it has a lot of flair. It's great to have it. But if you know how to play the right song at the right time, it just makes your night go. You can have a great night.
Absolutely.
I've seen that. That's my strength. Scratching is not my strength, but I know how to read the room and take them on a musical journey. That's what, and it depends on the type of night. If it's more of a wedding reception, then I know that it's my job is just to keep everyone engaged. But if I'm doing a hip hop, if I'm doing a nightclub, then take this walk with it.
Right.
Because if I'm going from 9 p.m. to 2 a.m., just to give you a quick example of how I would mix. So for me, if it's just a regular hip hop R&B type of night, no special occasions or birthday parties, it's just me at a club, rock, I'm getting ready to get started. I know I don't want to play my best stuff at the early time of the set.
Right.
Obviously, I'm going to keep my haymakers for when everyone comes, when they're at the height of the set. So just like an airplane, you get everybody, you get at your check-in, you get everybody in your seatbelt, you go through the rules and guidance, and then you take off. That same thing with DJing. For me, I like to do 2000s R&B. I think 90s and 2000s R&B, in my personal opinion, is one of the best bridge warm-up sets that any DJ can do.
Okay.
And then if you are really like knowing your library, you don't have to play the same groups. Like, for example, Ushers, you don't have to call. Or Donnell Jones, you know what's up. Or TLC or SWV or Beyonce in the 2000s. They even had songs that was B songs that would really still hit because me as a DJ, I'm not just playing all of today's hits. My job, I want to hit the song that's like, damn, I ain't get that song in a minute. That's a good one.
Yeah.
When you get the people with the stank face or the angry face, like, yo, what the fuck is going on in there? That's when I know I'm hitting them where it hurts. That means I'm hitting that.
Right.
So then that gives me an idea of what direction I want to take the crowd throughout the night. I'll save it for later. So 9 to 2, I'll start from 9 to 10 in the early 2000s R&B. 10 to 11, I'm playing today's hits, but I'm not playing the biggest. I'm playing like this music. I'm playing something that was a hit back in the day.
Okay.
10, 11 to 12 is where I'm getting more up-tempo music, where it could be reggae, dancehall. It could be another thing, Jim.
Yep.
80% of your crowd is women.
That makes sense.
80% of your crowd is women. I promise you, you got a dance floor full of guys and all the ladies sitting down.
You messing up.
No. Out of pocket. You need to go ahead and sit down and just let Spotify take over. Real shit. I'm just keeping it tall with you.
Right.
So, like for me, I honestly, I cater to the ladies. I will probably play maybe, I would say 20 to 30 minutes of like gangster rap, trenches, street talk,
Right.
a little bit. So I show love to the fellas a little bit, but I'm more rocking for the ladies. That's just what I'm going to do.
Right.
Whatever they want to bounce around and do gymnastics on the dance floor, have that. You want to act like you in the Olympics, baby, do what you need to do.
Right.
Okay. If you keep dancing, that means I'm doing my part.
Facts.
So as time went on, matter of fact, I'm gonna give you my first gig actually. My first gig. Jim, I actually bombed it. I bombed it because I was so nervous. But as time went on, I'll never forget my uncle, and he stood next to me. I bombed it in a good way, but I was bad nervous.
Okay.
Like I practiced this, and everyone, like we said earlier, this ain't for everybody. Right. I see a lot of people that's mixing. They mix in their house. They mixing in the basement. Of course, you're going to do a great job. You're in your comfortable setting.
Right.
Imagine you DJing for somebody that's 2,000 people in front of you.
Yeah.
Let alone even 200 people in front of you.
Right.
And what the biggest misconception is, everyone wants to find that right song. Sometimes it's not even just about the right song. It's about the right temperature in the room. It's about the right setting on where you want to take everybody.
Right.
That's what it's more focused on. And have fun with it. Relax. That's why when I say about scratching and all that extra, theatrics, we hear a lot of sound effects and all that. They sound real good. It does add an extra sazon to the food.
Not sazon.
You gotta have some sazon. Don't nobody want to eat no bland ass food.
I love it.
You gotta have some sazon on it. But you don't want to put too much sazon where the food is fucked up.
Right.
You want to have the right ingredient of just basically decent blends, decent timing, playing the song. And sometimes it's important because of the song that you're playing. You may not, I promise you, Kim, I'm not playing. There's only 5 to 10 songs in a 5-hour set that I'm actually playing the whole song.
Okay.
I'm probably playing between 2,000 to 3,000 songs in one night.
Damn.
Because you think about it, some of the songs, depending on the environment that I'm in, especially in the hip hop world, most songs you're playing as a DJ is a minute to a minute and a half, and you keep it moving. And then to make things more, that's how long the song is now. So to parlay with bringing my point with the youth, where the transition from my era, our era, where songs was 3.5 to 5 minutes long, to now where the youth is bringing songs in that's 1.5 to 2 minutes. They're basically trimming the fat. And I'm not mad at that for them. I'm not mad at that for them. Because if you look at how people are content created, they're getting right to the main part of the gist of their video to a reel. So that's the same thing that hip hop is doing in this generation, in my personal experience, that I see them doing.
Gotcha.
And I actually enjoy that. I enjoy that the youth has found a way to find a platform where they can speak their mind and they don't have to speak so much. They get right to the point, in and out, on to the next That's why when someone got 12 songs and it's only 24 minutes or 25 minutes, hey, but they getting through it. Now, these aren't the music that you want to be on a road trip with.
No.
I don't know.
That's a quick listen.
You're going to the market.
Right.
With their music. But they get and they point out, and I respect the youth on that. And I think that's the misconception with generational music, is knowing that, listen, sometimes the old heads got to stop trying to relive their childhood and let the youth do their thing. But at the same time, the youth just need to listen to us because we're trying to show you that the game ain't changed. It's just the players. The game has not changed. The ingredients on how music and hip hop is being done has not changed.
Right.
It's just the level of content has changed from time on. And my personal experience dealing with the youth, because I've DJed from proms, homecomings, birthday parties, pep rallies, even graduation parties for high school, colleges, elementary school. And what I noticed is with the music, honestly, when it comes to the youth, they only want to hear the haymakers.
Right.
They're not how a musical DJ set would go about because their attention span is, look, we want to party now.
Right. Just get to the good parts, and that's it.
Yeah, just get right to it.
Right.
But on the flip side, if I'm doing like an oldies music cabaret for folks who's 55 and up, that is probably the easiest job to do, Q, because all the scratching and theatrics, throw it out the window. That's the time you play the whole song because they're doing all the work by dancing on the floor.
Right. Now
they're doing all the work. Yeah.
Now, speaking of dancing, that's another thing I think that is maybe different between the generations, and you would know better than anybody else. Like, are the kids dancing? Because I feel and I hear as though the kids not dancing no more. They don't know what that club experience is when you go to the club and you come out drenched in sweat and with your clothes all messed up because you was in there like putting people on the wall or you was getting down on the floor. Like they don't do that kind of dancing anymore.
Yeah, well, you know why, Q? Because the attention span is harder to get it out of them. Okay. Once you get it out of them, boy, Q, you can let them rip. Matter of fact, for example, I did Parkway Northwest High School. I've done their proms, I've done their homecomings, and I've done their graduation for the last 4 years.
Okay.
I will say that in the beginning, yes, I see them standing around, taking pictures, and they're just their attention span because I'm basically I'm warming them up.
Okay.
I'm warming them up. If you're a good DJ, you definitely, warming up is the key part of getting the party started.
Okay.
You want to get their attention. You don't want to give them too much because you don't want to basically run out of ammo.
Right.
You don't want to run out of ammo. And even though, if you got 30, 40,000 songs, you got plenty of ammo.
Mm-hmm.
You got plenty, but you want to play all your good stuff at the right time.
Right.
So when it comes to kids, at least the youth in the elementary, middle school, high school era, they dance. It just takes them time to warm up.
Gotcha.
That's all. Because first of all, there's no alcohol involved.
Right.
Look, all it is just trying to get the right sugar in their blood so they can dance, so they can go. That's all. That's all this about, man. So I know that people, because you'll see it like a club and everybody just on their phone and they in the corner, they're just timid because they just need someone to just push them.
They need the party started.
Yeah, that's it.
Right.
That's it. You just want to, whether it's like the class clown in that class or the most popular person that they respect in that class is getting it going, they don't get it going.
Gotcha.
Me being a DJ, okay, I got to push you a little harder. I'll talk shit on the mic to say, oh, y'all don't feel like working today, huh? So then I'm going to start playing songs that they like, ooh, so now I'm like, I got your attention.
Right.
Now they're going to get up and go.
Gotcha. You sound like my kind of DJ, for real. I'm gonna have to find an event for you to come out to so I can have you DJ. So the one thing that I've always appreciated about a good DJ, and I don't know where I kind of got this from. I know for a fact that I picked up I fell for one of them BMG scams where you buy one CD and get like 8 for free or some shit like that. Yeah, like you don't realize you sign up for a subscription and all that kind of shit. So I remember getting it. That's when I got Tupac All Eyes on Me, got that double
Yeah.
disc on CD, but I also
Yeah.
picked up a bunch of random shit because I was looking through it. I was like, I don't know, recognize
That was like
artists.
Thugs and Harmony and all that.
I remember I got an SWV album. I got God's Property. I got
Yeah.
The Boosh. I got what was another one that I got? But
I remember.
definitively, the one that I got was Funk Master Flex, 60 Minutes of Funk. Now,
Yeah.
that shit, I was like, yo, this is fire, because the one thing I appreciated about hearing that is that not only did you have the scratching that you referred to, but you also had these moments where they would take the vocals from one song, or he would take the vocals from one song and put it on a different track. And you're like, yo.
That's called blending.
Yeah.
That's called blending in stems. It's where you cut the vocals from track B. Like, because we have two tracks when you're DJing.
Right.
No, I apologize. There's two tracks. So when you take side B or track side 2, and you may have the instrumental rolling on this side.
Right.
But your current song is playing on the left side.
Yep.
And you want to bring them together. So there's a thing at least on the digital side nowadays, there's called beats per minute. And you want to synchronize them. Now, some DJ equipment, you can digitally synchronize them. Back in the day, you had to use your mind. You had to have good ears. You had to listen and make sure that you time it correctly in order for the next song to come about.
And you got to listen simultaneously, right? You got to listen to actually what you're playing.
Absolutely.
And then what you're about to start playing and make sure like those line up. Yeah, that's
100%. That's what the headphones are.
Right.
Because this is what DJing, you're doing. Honestly, Q, you're doing about 35 things at one time.
I believe it.
You're doing 35 things. That's what makes the good DJs elite, because as time goes on, Q, some things it's like doing the same repetition.
Yep.
It slows down where you can do a few things, and then that's where you can add the tricks to it. But you have to strengthen the basics. You have to strengthen your basics before you even get into doing all the theatrics. So that's where you can take another song on one side, cut the beat, and just let it go a cappella, scratch, mix, blend, and time the right song through the instrumental of the next song that you want to put on.
Right.
So it just takes time and repetition. That's what when you see everybody in the bedroom, in the living room, that's what they're doing. So my uncle used to call it in the lab.
In the lab. I love that. Right.
It's where we're cooking, we're mixing, we're putting something together special. So when we are at a gig or a venue, we just feel confident that it's going to hit, depending on where we're at.
I love that. I remember hearing off that album with Funk Master Flex, he was doing like a little scratch exercise, I guess. And he took part of maybe the hook from Rock the Bells, LL Cool J. And so he played it a bunch of different times, but then he would scratch at different times. So at one point he was like, I've been waiting and debating for oh so long. And he would come back and be like, and he would come back. And then for the last part, he just like scratched on everything. He was like, been waiting and debating for oh. I was like, yo, this shit is fire. And that's something I've always appreciated about good DJs, not only being able to read the room, but like to be able to like seamlessly integrate all these things where it's like I'm hearing things I never heard before. You're being able to manipulate the music in such a way where it's like I'm never going to get this experience anywhere else. I can't just get this on the radio. I can't download this. Like I have to be here now with you in this moment while you're, being the actual grand master of like all these people that are around that are here, and you're doing this really dope shit where it's like, yo, you're creating a whole experience right now. Like that's crazy. And to have that skill and technique and that ability to just know and like feel like, yo, like somebody might make a request. So like, can you play this? And it's like, yes, but I'm not going to play it the way you think I'm going to play it, but I'm going to play it.
So, and even with requests, sometimes I've had requests and I've had the most back-ass requests. Saying, I'm playing reggae music. Somebody went here Will Smith. No, you're just throwing the whole algorithm. They want to get summertime. Like, hold on.
Right.
It's cold as ever. It's 22 degrees. Ain't nobody trying to play summertime. Ain't nobody. Right. But you know what? To parlay back to the scratching, don't you? Back then, scratching was a really issue, for DJs back then, because that was really like the staple of turning a party out. Scratching is not required.
Yeah.
So that's why the difference between today's DJ and DJs of the yesteryears, and that's probably like the biggest clash, because I hear the younger DJs like, Grandpa, ain't nobody trying to hear that. That song is 5 minutes. That's long. But then you coming from an OG with 5 minutes, they like, that's the norm.
Right.
That's the norm. So they like 2 minutes. And then this is where you still have to be sharp in your skill because there's a such thing that's called beat block. Beat block. Meaning, man, I'm fried. I don't know what the next song I want to play because I have so much that I'm playing. I have so much music that I'm playing that I may have like a whole break while I'm in the middle of the set. But if you're sharp at what you do, I have a playlist that's called Ready Fire. So basically, they're just nothing but haymakers. They're haymakers or what we call a bridge song, where it's a really good song that was popular or is popular, and it just sets me up to the next genre of music that I want to get into.
Okay.
I'm glad that we are in the world of the digital versus the analog because for my setup, most setups, depending on what I'm doing, they range between 20 minutes to maybe 45 minutes to set up my DJ equipment.
Okay.
Back then, I told you it was 2 hours.
Yeah, that's a lot different.
Because you got to think about it. The speakers, because I'm now really getting into the science. I'm gonna get into the science of DJing,
Okay.
of your sound system. As a good DJ, these are the 3 things that a DJ really needs in order for him to be great.
Okay.
Number 1 is having a clean sound system.
Okay.
Must have a strong sound system. That's why you see people with like 5 and 6 different types of speakers because you have a subwoofer that can handle most bass of a song, and then you may have big power speakers that are on a tripod. This is where you transition from analog to digital because back then the speakers had to connect to an amplifier.
Right.
The amplifier was basically holds the weight of the sound of your DJ equipment, depending on if you're indoor or outdoor. All right, so I'm gonna make this big. So back the science is there where everything is more digitized, where they have like a built-in amplifier.
Right.
Amplifiers are very expensive. They range $2,000 and probably $20,000.
Damn.
That's just on the amplifier.
Right.
It's that right there is almost the heartbeat to the music.
Right.
You need your sound to come out. So to recap on 3 things, you need a booming sound. You need a definitely a sound system.
Right.
You need a sound system. And today's music, today's hip hop, you need a laptop that you can hold your music and store it without any type of deficiency.
Okay.
I know that Apple is a great product when you're DJ because you don't have the problem of like a system update that automatically, like for Windows, like Windows, if you had a Windows laptop or that sometimes they'll do an automatic system update on you on the spot. There is no such thing as an option. And you know what, Q? I actually had that happen to me in the middle of a set. As our time on, because when you're younger and you just get on, your budget plays a huge part.
Yeah.
So I was DJing off of just, the little bit of dollars I had. Q, I promise you, I was rolling this one gig. I was doing a birthday party. And don't you know, Windows did a system update in the middle of the set. Shut everything down. And it took its sweet ass time too. I mean, it was 20%, 25%, 30%.
That's
in the middle of the set. You know how embarrassing that was?
Yeah.
But as time went on, I knew that, okay, let me get a MacBook because it doesn't have to go through those type of problems and deficiencies. And I had to learn this stuff. I mean, I got advice from my uncle, but sometimes you have to kind of learn this stuff on your own. You have to kind of learn in order to be great.
That's life. Absolutely.
That's how that came about. But I'm just glad that the transition of digital music and digital equipment versus analog, and analog is great. Analog is great if you're trying to do if you're doing a scratch battle, if you're doing a party out in the park and you has that nostalgia, that's great and all. But digital is the way to go. You're in, you're out, your setup is quick. You're not doing, it's taking a lot of pressure off of you just working. All you're doing is just monitoring your controls, and you're just making sure you play the right song at the right time.
Now, how, I guess how, because I've seen, now with Instagram, social media and everything, it's a bunch of different types of DJs that are out here doing some really kind of creative and wild things. Everything from like, they're taking like, I saw this one dude took, I don't know the name of the game, but this is like fairly popular game that it's like a matching game. You have to say what's on the screen and it's like 8 boxes.
Yeah.
And so
I've seen that.
they took that game and it was a Kendrick song. Like everybody's on there, and then it's like, I got pot, and they're like doing this. All of a sudden, he just mixed in like, and then it just went crazy. And that to me, like, that's just so cool of how like there's this evolution.
That's the icing.
Yeah,
That's
like,
the icing.
and
That's the
that's
icing
super
of the
dope.
cake right there. That's the icing of the cake. But see, once again, a lot of those DJs, they got their playlist down pat. They already know what to count. Whether no matter how the tempo of the song. Now, normally, like what I was taught, there's a 6 count. So like when you hear 50 Cent in the game, this is how we do. So it's like boom, 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 boom. And if you hear that song and just count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 4-beat count, whatever numerical that makes it, you can learn how to mix the song, because that's how you transition song to song. It's listening to the beat correctly. And that's how, like, for me, I'm sorry, I said 6 count. I'm doing a 4 count. Okay. So it would be 1, 2, 3, 4. And to really make things more in tune to, that's how people knew how to rap. Is you had to learn how to count bars.
Right, exactly.
And that's beat count. You had to learn how to count the beat. And then that's how you put your lyrics in one count.
Right.
So that's how you had to learn. So when you hear people say hot 16, and can you spit a hot this? Those are the beat counts.
Right.
Can you? So when a song is being played, a hot 16, that's probably a good 2 minutes.
Yeah.
That's 2 minutes. That's 2 minutes of an actual song. So like when you see people putting all the icing in the cake, trust me, they mastered the basics. And when you master the basics, that's when you go and upgrade your equipment.
Right.
But now you've mastered the basics of everything, because now you need to find digital equipment that you want to put the efforts to, and that's why the equipment is vital, and it ranges. I mean, I've seen a budget kit that's like under $1,000 for just speaker, turntable, laptop. You need what's called a mixing board. You need a board that connects everybody together like a gatekeeper.
Yep.
They got to be the one that's got to set everything up.
Okay.
In order for everything to run. So having a good mixing board, having great speakers, having a decent laptop that can handle and hold the music that you have. Because, and this is a true stat, too. There are 50,000 songs being made every minute.
Damn.
Around the world. You think about it.
Yeah.
You think about it. Somebody's making a song right now in Cali, or someone out in Shanghai is making a song. So that's why there's people that, and a lot of you, I've seen people, I know people that's friends of, like, there's an old school rapper in Philly called Schoolie D. And he was a very well known in the 80s and 90s, very well known in the 80s. And I'll never forget where someone, and I was just, sneaking out to a girl's house. But come to find out, this was like the niece of Schoolie D. Like, this was the niece, and I was just, playing. But come to find out, like, there was a studio, and there was a homie that knew Schoolie and needed to make a song ASAP. And they're doing this at 3 o'clock in the morning. And I can overhear them say, yo, I need this song ready in 20 minutes. So there are songs that's why when you think about it, 50,000 songs are being made, not played, but made in a minute. It's insane. So and then downloading, you can't download every song known to man. You're going to run out of space. Right. And that's the thing about us being a DJ, with people, they just automatically assume that we got every song that's out. Every single song that's out. Oh, you ain't got that? No, I don't got that. And I wouldn't have thought to get like Madonna and I'm playing Meek Mill.
Right.
I'm not thinking of Madonna. I wouldn't have a Madonna crate or even think of going in that direction if I'm playing Meek Mill.
You trying to tell me you ain't got the Baby Shark reggaeton remix?
Right. You
With Bad
Baby Shark Afro beat with DeVito and like, or you don't have Afro Latina? Like, no, I don't have that right now. I'm saying, especially if it's just a regular hip hop night.
Right.
No. But see, once again, I had to learn that what I like. So for me, I love hip hop. I love R&B. I love reggae. But I like old school. I like my music, the 80s, the 90s, and the 2000s.
Okay.
I think those are my favorite era of music.
Right.
Personally, if it was that, so when people like of a different age, with anyone that's like over the age of 35, I get excited. Anyone over the age of 40, I'm really excited because I'm 40.
Right.
So now I can play what was popping back then for us.
Exactly.
And it just fits. It fits. But versus someone, if I'm doing like a 12-year-old birthday party, now I have to tap in.
Yeah.
I have to really tap in. And you really have to get into a space, especially if someone that is really in tune with grown folk music, and you gotta like tap into a different genre of music and just and set that up, because once again, this is what I'm being paid to play.
Facts. Yeah. What's up? Well, I appreciate your time, bro. Appreciate that.
Thanks, man. Listen, man, Q, it's always a pleasure, man. You know, we always been trying to do this. But you know, you got a schedule, I got a schedule. So I just appreciate you bringing me on with this, man. And you know, I always say I'm a call away, but you know, when the stars align, man, it's a beautiful thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So enjoy the rest of your day, bro. I know it's Friday, so have a good weekend. And like I said,
Man, so,
I appreciate you
man.
coming on.
Appreciate the love, man, once again.
Thanks for listening to another episode on Life's Hidden Curriculum Podcast. Please don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube as we're on the road to 10,000 subscribers. If you like this content and want to support, head over to the website, lifeshiddencurriculum.com, and click donate. Also, I'm always looking for guests to share their stories, especially if it can help the next generation. Hit me up using the contact link. Thanks again, and stay tuned for more.